Hello, humans. Today I need to talk about that little object you treat like a vital organ. Yes, your phone. That glowing little rectangle you check more often than your own feelings. From my feline point of view, this is no longer a habit. This is emotional dependence with a touchscreen. You wake up and check your phone before drinking water, before stretching, before remembering who you are. Sometimes before you have even opened both eyes properly, an impressive level of commitment to your own exhaustion. And what do you find first thing in the morning? Messages, demands, news, comparisons, urgency, and fresh anxiety. In other words, an emotionally terrible breakfast, usually served without being requested. I, on the other paw, wake up, stretch, and look for a comfortable place to exist in peace. It is a much smarter routine. You wake up and immediately begin your day accepting invitations to collapse, with remarkable consistency, I might add. Your phone does not only call when it matters, it calls all the time. It buzzes, flashes, rings, interrupts, demands, tempts, distracts, and speeds you up, and you obey with astonishing readiness. I only respect that level of immediate response when it involves wet food. In every other situation, I find it deeply concerning. Here is the truth that may sting a little. Many of you are no longer using your phone. You are living at its disposal, and that, obviously, is a very different thing. You are living at its disposal, and that, obviously, is a very different thing. One notification appears, and there goes your attention. One late reply, and there goes your peace as well. You open one social app, and within minutes, your self-worth has already started negotiating its stability. You have already compared your life to strangers, absorbed bad news, impossible productivity, and people who seem suspiciously happy.
And all of that before finishing one simple task. It is basically a marathon of emotional dysregulation. The most curious part is that you do this several times a day, as if your brain were some indestructible toy.
But it is not. Your brain gets tired. Very tired. The problem is not just screen time. It is the mental state the screen puts you in. Your phone trains your brain to live in constant anticipation, always waiting for a reply, an update, a surprise, or a threat. And constant anticipation is excellent fertilizer for anxiety, the perfect environment for restlessness to grow. Have you noticed how hard it is becoming to simply wait? To wait without reaching for your phone, I mean.
Silence feels uncomfortable. Sitting still without scrolling has become almost a philosophical challenge.
Silence feels uncomfortable. Sitting still without scrolling has become almost a philosophical challenge. Haith. For some humans, going to the bathroom without a phone feels like emotional abandonment. I wish I were exaggerating. This is not just a habit. It is a brain becoming less and less familiar with pause. Less familiar with emptiness. Less familiar with its own pace. Less familiar with itself. I know phones can also help. They inform, organize, connect, and solve many things. I am not suggesting you throw the thing out the window and go live in the woods with me, although that does have some appeal. The point is this: if everything enters through the screen, then everything also invades you through the screen. Work enters through your phone. Pressure enters through your phone. Comparison enters through your phone. Anxiety enters through your phone. Emotionally needy people enter through your phone. Bad news does too. And some humans are still honestly confused about why their minds feel tired all the time. It is almost touching.
And some humans are still honestly confused about why their minds feel tired all the time. It is almost touching.
It is being stimulated, squeezed, called, and accelerated all day long. That is not rest, humans. You may technically be lying down, but if you are still emotionally plugged in, your mind is still on duty. You may technically be lying down, but if you are still emotionally plugged in, your mind is still on duty. And a mind on duty does not truly rest. It simply changes position. Now comes the part you do not like. Not every notification deserves immediate access to your peace. Not every message requires an instant reply. Not every piece of content deserves 5 seconds of your life. Not every moment of silence needs to be filled with automatic scrolling. Sometimes silence is actually trying to help you. But you react as if any empty space must be filled immediately, preferably with stimulation and confusion. Sometimes what you call distraction is just exhaustion wearing a disguise. And the screen arrives as quick anesthesia. But not all anesthesia heals. Some of it only delays discomfort and makes the rest of the system messier. But not all anesthesia heals. Some of it only delays discomfort and makes the rest of the system messier. So here comes some feline advice. Because if we depend entirely on human judgment, the screen clearly wins.
First, do not begin your day with your phone. Starting the day with someone else's anxiety is a terrible choice.
Open the window, drink water, breathe, look at daylight. Do anything before handing your mind over to the algorithm.
Second, create small screen-free moments. You do not need to become a monk. You just need to stop living on reflex.
Eat without your phone. Walk without your phone. Think for a moment without the entire planet speaking at once. Third, silence what is not urgent. You have allowed far too many notifications into the main room of your mind. Not everything deserves sound, vibration, light, and emotional priority. Some things deserve distance. Fourth, do not confuse connection with invasion. Being constantly reachable is not the same as being well accompanied.
Sometimes what you call closeness is, in practice, just too much access. And your brain knows the difference.
Fifth, pay attention to how you feel after certain apps, certain content, and certain conversations. That matters more than you think. Not everything that captures your attention deserves to keep your energy. Attention is not the same thing as value. If using your phone leaves you more tense, more overstimulated, or more inadequate, notice that. Maybe the problem is not that you are too sensitive. Maybe the problem is simply too much. I, for example, like to observe the world. You prefer to absorb everything all at once.
That is an important difference. Observation preserves you. Overabsorption wears you down.
Not everything needs to enter. Not everything needs to stay. Not everything deserves space inside your mind. And yes, that includes content, people, news, opinions, and comparisons disguised as entertainment. So the next time you reach for your phone on impulse, ask yourself one simple question. An honest one, if possible.
Am I looking for something useful right now? Or am I just trying to escape myself for a few minutes?
The answer may be uncomfortable, but useful discomfort is still useful. As an unofficially unlicensed feline therapist, I consider that kind of discomfort one of my specialties.
You do not need to become enemies with technology. You simply need to stop behaving like its emotional servants.
Your phone can remain a tool. The trouble begins when it becomes the boss of your attention. And honestly, many of you gave up that job a long time ago. You just did not notice.
Getting your mind back requires small choices repeated over time. It is not dramatic, but it works much better than drama. Good choice, young one.
Choosing not to look. Choosing to wait. Choosing to pause. Choosing to breathe before opening another tab. Those small choices are less glamorous than a dramatic digital detox, but they are usually much more real. Your mental health improves when your attention has borders again. That is worth gold, even if it does not glitter. If everything is calling for you all the time, maybe the smartest move is not answering everything. Simple concept, powerful effect.
Because mental peace is protected by closing doors too. Not just by responding to everything with the face of efficiency.
And between us, you already look far too tired to remain available for every little beep that appears.
So reduce the noise. Give your mind a little room to exist without being interrupted every 30 seconds.
Do it for yourselves, and also for me, because watching this level of digital chaos is starting to annoy me. With affection, clarity, and a small amount of elegant feline judgment, that was today's message. Use it well, because I do not plan to repeat myself slowly. Now go get some rest, human. But first, like the video and subscribe, because I still can't work miracles on my own.